Good Guys to Know Podcast. Good Guys to Know Podcast.
Welcome to the Good Guys to Know Podcast, a bi-weekly production bringing you information on a variety of topics guaranteed to mold you into a good guy to know. My name is Gio. It is my pleasure to welcome you. It's my pleasure to introduce you to the rest of the Good Guys to Know. This whole Twitch thing is still throwing me off. But we've got Peric.
Hey, everybody.
And Mitch.
Hey, guys.
And Chad.
You do that just to bother me every time?
I think it might become a bit. I don't know.
Oh, God. It hurts. It hurts.
And as Good Guys to Know, we like to start each episode with one of our favorite drinks in hand. I am double fisting tonight.
Fantastic.
I'm cleaning up an Anchor Steam.
From last 2 weeks ago?
Did I have
Still?
an Anchor Steam on the last
12 pack
podcast?
from 2 weeks ago.
Is it the same
Yeah,
one?
it's the same one. It's just been
Oh.
sitting on my podcasting table for 2 weeks.
It's a rookie
Yeah,
number.
I only drink one beer every 2 weeks. It's just on this podcast. So yeah, I'm drinking that, and then I have a tall boy Coors Light.
Look at you living the high life. Wait, that's not
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, not quite.
Different
Living
beer, but
Tap the Rockies.
yeah, look at you tapping the Rockies.
There we go. There we go. Mitch, what do we have over there?
Oh, goodness me.
I'm with you, my man. I'll give you $100 if you guess why I have this beer, this Coors Light.
Because it was left over from last year's Masters.
Nope.
Oh shoot!
Seems
it
like it was
left over
left
from
over from
somebody?
something.
Somebody gave it to you, Beer Fairy.
Yeah, neighbor moved out of his house across the street, and this was his parting gift to me. He had 12 of an 18 pack left over.
And beer wasn't allowed to be moved to his new house.
was he
or is
moving?
moving to
I
like
don't know.
a dry county or something?
I think he was leaving them it was the last thing he moved, just in case he needed stuff
Smart man.
to drink
Smart
while
man.
moving, right? And so it was the very last thing, his last trip, and he was like, "Hey, you want this?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So yeah, Coors Light. I got
Did you-
on backup?
Oh, nice. Did you get new neighbors yet?
Yes, we did.
And
Is it a guy named AJ?
No, AJ has been the neighbor.
Oh,
This
okay.
is the guy named Adam. It's another guy from.
Oh,
that
yeah,
same
yeah,
street, But yeah.
I've met all
I
these
haven't met
guys.
him
As
yet.
it turns out, they're
I know.
great, really nice guys.
how did
you
you
gotta
wait,
move to our
Gio,
street. It's a great
you know
golfing
Mitch's
street.
neighbor?
Yeah, it's
Before
weird.
me.
Yeah, I golfed with these guys. As it turns out, it was like a connection to a connection,
I didn't
and
know
then
you
we
golfed.
put it all together. And
You guys live in a major metropolitan area, right? It's not. This
Yeah.
is sounding suspiciously like my town.
it's
way-
it's not
the way-
quite. Yeah.
The way
Go ahead,
AJ
Mitch.
told the story was pretty funny because he was like, "Yeah, I was talking to him. We were just doing the same bullshit golf course talk, right? Like, oh, what do you do for a living? And you said you're a genetic counselor." And he said he went through this horrible thing where he's like, "Is that?" He said his name was Gio, right? Not, your brother Jamie. He's like, I know Jamie, and he's a genetic. Is that Jamie? And I didn't recognize him, because their wives know each other
Yeah,
very,
yeah.
very well. So he was like, "Oh, thank goodness it was your brother." But how many people have two brothers who are both genetic counselors?
Okay, so
well, you can-
but is Jamie in
turns
your
out-
golf thing?
No.
So
this is like
this random
worlds
person
colliding.
has
Worlds
three
colliding.
different connections to three different friends of mine, all around Minneapolis.
Yeah, it's true.
This is
It's true.
weird. Are you sure
It-
he's not? Are you sure he's who he says he is? This is sounding pretty suspicious.
socially engineering.
Yes.
Yeah. But yeah. So, anyways, lots of small circles colliding there. I'm glad that you have a Coors Light, Mitch. Welcome to the club. What
It's an
about
exclusive
you,
club.
Chad? What are you drinking?
Well, I've got an IPA tonight that I haven't had in a while. If I'm being honest, it's not my favorite. I wasn't allowed to say that the other day because I asked my wife if she would go get me some beer.
Ooh.
And she knows the rule for me is if she finds anything with the letters IPA on it, she can just grab it and take it to the register. So she did. This is the Voodoo Ranger Imperial IPA. You could find it in just about any liquor store. It's not, it's New Belgium. It's only okay. I can't really recommend it. I think you can do way better in the world of IPAs out there, but good try. Anyways.
I mean, Imperial IPA implies extra alcohol, right?
I don't
Or
know.
am I making that up?
9% by volume.
There's a
Sounds
definite
about
connection
right.
there. Like an imperial stout or
Okay. Barrick, are you there? I feel like you're Your lips are moving, but I can't hear any volume.
Zoom is acting funny. You guys, Mitch and Chad, you can hear me, right?
I haven't heard you say a word, my friend.
Get out of here. Chat, can you guys hear me? Nobody said
Shut
anything
the
about not
front
being able to
door.
hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Yeah.
Well-
I think you need to lean into that mic, baby.
It's literally right in front of my mouth.
Get closer, improve it.
How do I sound now? I feel like this
Like
is
an
too
NPR
loud.
Sexy.
host. That's perfect.
Sexy.
Maybe I'll. Oh yes, yeah. I'm too loud. All right.
That's
I think Zoom's ducking me out a little bit here, but at any rate,
What you drinking?
I'm drinking Bullet Rye whiskey
that's good.
as per.
Back
Good
to the
stuff.
standard.
Yep. Yeah.
Finally got over our golf trip to Mammoth, to Sand Valley.
You're able to drink bourbon again?
Yeah. Ooh, whiskey.
No. Okay. Let's see here. In an attempt to become even better guys to know, each podcast we take part in an official Good Guys to Know challenge. These challenges, which range from seeing who can win the most money gambling to making a trick shot video, last for a fortnight and will definitely make you a good guy to know. As always, you as listeners are encouraged to attempt our challenges along with us. Before we get to listener participation, I think we'll go through our stuff first, but the challenge was pretty simple, was to watch the new Borat, a movie. And
My wife.
and just it was kind of like a throwback. I think we all remember watching like Ali G show and stuff in college and the first Borat movie. So this was super popular, probably one of the most popular things on Amazon. So yeah, well, does anybody want to cop to anything? Anybody want to say they didn't do it?
I remember the challenge frequently throughout the weeks at all very inopportune times. Like sitting on a work call like, oh, I got to watch Borat. I got to remember to watch Borat. And, you know, by the time work's done, I have hobbies and other things that I go to as my primary. I just and it's never movies. I never watch
Look at
movies.
this guy with his
I'm
like,
pretty
personal
works
life.
works on blue mood lighting in his office, stuff like that.
Yeah, you guys want to
Creates
see the
sound
new
bars and little robots.
check this out.
Do
Oh,
you have ear stuff in?
can you
Is
guys
that
see
a
me?
strobe light
What's
or
in
something?
your ear?
No,
Did you lose your
I
hearing
added
recently?
I added some new lighting back there to try it just to see.
It's like
Just-
shaking, right?
It just
Oh,
looks
It's
like
red?
the
you're having
LED.
an
It's
earthquake.
the frequency of the LEDs is not the camera plus the LED equals the pulsing. But
Do we need to put an epilepsy warning on our screen
well,
now?
that's why I installed them and then I unrolled it.
And
plugged
taped
it
it
in.
to your.
No, well, if you want to hear the full story, because it's Borat related, not Borat related, but
That's a Borat joke too.
I got it. Yeah, I got it. Hey, thanks for the follow, Iron Lungs, with a lot of
Nice.
X's.
Mhm.
No, I bought these at Menards for like, I think $5 maybe. These LED strip lights, and I unroll them, and it's USB, which is an annoying way to do it. So I had to find like a brick to plug it into, and I was trying to get it to reach the power strip, and the thing just separated from the strip light. It was just like so cheaply made. So I got out my soldering iron today, and I soldered it all back together. I got it working. Works great, but it looks terrible on the stream. So I'm gonna throw it away, or not throw it away,
Leave it
but
as it is.
yeah, give it to my kids to play with or something. But anyway, so I didn't watch Borat. I have other hobbies like soldering $5 LED strip lights that got in the way.
Anybody else wanna fess up or?
I'll talk.
Go ahead.
I watched it. I watched it like the very next night. I think Angie was watching Bachelor or something, which I've tried to watch with her several times and just end up just frustrated at the state of the world every time I watch that show. Remember, I had a little segment on that.
Yeah,
It
wasn't
didn't
that
turn
like
me into-
recently?
Oh,
Didn't
yes,
turn
we
me
do.
into a viewer.
It was
Anyway,
slightly better than Presidents.
you know, you cast a broad net around here. At least some of us do. Some of us never get off our butts and try anything.
Some of us don't cast any nets.
Shots fired. I tried this little drawing thing.
I was
here.
gonna say, I was gonna take it back. You're doing a thing now. I like it. It's good.
This is like my
I liked last week the Chad equals Trump thing that you were doing
Yeah,
back
that was
there.
good,
That was
right?
It was
very.
very QAnon-esque, yeah. So, anyways, I watched Borat like the night after the challenge. I was pleasantly surprised to see it was free for Amazon Prime subscribers. I expected to
Yep.
have to shell out some money to watch it. Um, is that going to be the new thing now, especially since theaters aren't working? Like we would
think
that would
so.
have been in theaters, right?
For
There's
sure.
no way that would
Certainly.
have gone to free on Prime. If not,
Yeah, I think Netflix proved that model that you can spend like a big amount of money on a series or a movie or something just to get subscribers, I guess. Or I still don't understand how Netflix
I'm
makes
in.
money.
I'll subscribe if that's what I mean. If you can give me, newly released movies that I have the option of seeing in the movie theater, because sometimes that's fun, or I can watch it from my couch. Oh God, yeah, I'm subscribing. Anyways, I watched it. I enjoyed it. I had several laugh out loud moments. There were some really disgusting moments, but those are the ones that I laughed out loud the most at. You could probably, if you saw it, you know what I'm talking about. The dance, the special dance. Oh, God. But I thought I did a little reading about it beforehand just to try to understand Sacha Baron Cohen a little bit more, because he's kind of this enigma, right? He plays these characters that are just really wild, but he's a pretty smart dude. He's certainly got a very certain political leaning to him, but he's also just an intelligent person. And they talked a little bit about his comedy and the way in which he can take something totally ridiculous, like a character, and then draw out actual ridiculousness from the people that are around him. It's this kind of sort of special comedy. And that was a really enjoyable part of the movie. It was fun to just be able to kind of laugh at the people that he was duping. I mean, I found it entertaining. I thought the storyline was actually better in this one than the previous one.
Remember what the Borat story was? He just came to America to.
I think to make a movie, right? Like he was
Yeah.
making a movie about America or something, or
Yeah, I guess, I mean, it didn't really stick with me. This one I felt like had a little bit more of a story to it, despite it being absolutely ridiculous, but that's, you're getting into that. So I don't know. I thought it was funny. I think he did a decent job for it being a sequel and a free Amazon Prime movie.
Hey,
Yeah,
I just want to.
I-
I want to say real hello to Fiacre. We were typing back to him in the chat, but
Oh,
Fiacre's in the chat. It's 3 a.m. and I think you're,
Oh, hell
you're in
yeah.
Edinburgh, so that's very cool. Thanks for
Cheers.
hopping on. Glad to hear from you.
I
Sorry,
think
go ahead, Gio.
Ireland recently went on like extreme lockdown recently as well.
Sounds
that right?
Sure.
Yep, I believe so, among a number of other European countries. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so back to Borat. So, Puff, I think the thing that I liked the least about it was actually that it tried to force this story in. I guess
Really?
I just would have liked ridiculous interview after ridiculous interview without trying to connect this thematic story over the whole thing, because yeah, it just seemed like it
you
was
wanted the old
trying too
Ollie G
much.
show.
Yeah, I
Just
for
the
sure did.
skits.
I for
Yeah.
sure did, because I loved the parts that seemed like they had no bearing on the actual story, like when he was meeting with those two guys, I guess redneck guys, and he lived at the house with them for a while. That whole part, I just loved all of those interactions. They seemed so genuine, and just it didn't really add much to the story at that part, but the interactions were so real. And
I wanted
those
to
were
know
my
so
favorite
much.
pieces.
I wanted to know so much more about that little, sequence in general. Like, did he actually live with them for a while? Because it seemed like it was a
Yeah.
multi-day thing, and then I was like, it couldn't have been a multi-day thing. So then I started thinking maybe they faked it or something, and they just got actors to do it, right? And that's I agree with you completely that the shtick of duping someone in a short little interview works so much better in little vignettes than trying to make a big story arc out of it. And so I have the same reaction as you, that I really wanted it to be just bam bam bam, and this story didn't do much for me.
I agree. Did you guys catch some of the parts where his daughter was breaking character and laughing? Did you guys notice a couple of those instances?
I don't think
noticed
so.
those, yeah.
Barrack definitely, yeah.
Love those.
There were certainly a couple points where she would like her chin would go down, she would just start smiling, and you could tell it was because Borat was just being absolutely ridiculous.
Mhm.
So
I was pretty hyped. I was pretty hyped up to see it because of the Rudy Giuliani thing. Like there was, about a week before it came out that he was like in it and he had gotten duped and he was put in this really compromising position, and it made it sound like it was going to be this kind of big deal. And so it's a kind of towards the end of the movie, and it's like obviously the biggest one they got. And I was watching and I was like, oh, it's it didn't really seem like it was what it was. Like he seemed like he was being super nice and maybe a little creepy to the the woman that was playing the character of Borat's daughter. Yeah, daughter.
I think he was
And
being
then
He was
a
being
lot
nice
creepy.
to her.
He was being a lot
being
creepy.
What did you watch?
so it's 2 weeks ago now, but when I watched it, I was expecting something like Chris Matthews style, like caught you red-handed, like your career's over type stuff.
I mean,
And it just didn't. It just seemed like kind of like creepy-ish grandpa, like a guy kind of being a little bit creepy.
But
I
like,
don't
can
know.
you imagine? I mean, like
they
when I saw that, I was
stopped
like,
him
how did he
before-
get it? Yeah, how would you even put yourself in that position? Like, what are you thinking?
I don't.
Am I
look,
alone?
All I know is he was lying
Now I
on
wish
a
I would have
bed
watched it.
with his hand down his pants. I don't know what he was doing down there. I suppose he could have been doing anything down there, but I have my suspicions.
Crossword puzzle.
and crossword puzzle, right? having a thumb war. I don't know.
I think his response was that he was like taking the microphone off, like the microphone that was
From
under
his
shirt,
crotch.
right?
That doesn't help.
Sure.
Uh,
Well,
I think I need to go watch it again because I was expecting like a catastrophe bombshell, and I was like, why is like I was expecting something big, and it was like just kind of like, oh
yeah.
it's kind of creepy.
The one defense I'll get behind is the part of the sensational headlines about catching Rudy Giuliani is that this girl was underaged, right? So, but my understanding is the actress herself, actor, I think actually we're supposed to say, herself is not underaged. Like she's
Right.
literally not an underaged individual. And it is, at least in the parts that they showed, she doesn't say she's underaged. He only learns this, I think, if I'm remembering the movie correctly, once Borat comes in and saying she's a child. So, I mean, maybe he thought he was going to get laid by this reporter that had, was, a gold digger or something. I don't know. Just wanted a power trip or something. But I can't. Probably that stuff does happen, and if they're both adults, I guess do your own thing. So I thought it was a little misleading.
It was certainly a little misleading, but it there's no way it paints you in a good light if you're put in that situation.
No,
I think maybe
at best you got duped and were stupid and a stupid, creepy old man, right? And
Right,
worse,
yeah.
you were
at
like
best.
actually trying to do something nefarious. And my interpretation was the former, right? Like it just seemed like, oh, he got duped and he's a creepy douchebag. Like,
right. My wife was just texting me. She must be on the Twitch call. My wife. Oh, dang, that would have been perfect. She said with those guys he was living with, he actually did do that, and he almost got caught, like with all of his equipment and stuff in the bedroom. So, like, evidently that was legit. That really happened. So
That's
be the only
amazing.
one.
Aren't you glad then that it was an extended story rather than just a skit? Like he developed a relationship with these two people.
Yeah, but I mean, like, I guess it just the story didn't really add on to it. I just the fact that he was living with them and like clowning them about the coronavirus and just like writing that song, like all of that was just so over the top. And it was one of the scenes that I could just like genuinely laugh at. I feel like there were a lot of scenes where I was really uncomfortable. I was just like, I don't want this to go any further in any direction. I just want it to be over. But that one, I was like, it was shocking, but for some reason, it wasn't as like alarming to me.
I think there was something interesting about those two guys and just kind of how welcoming they were as long as he subscribed to their belief system. Like I guess I would have expected typical people to like not be signing up, to have some random person who's pretty strange live with them. But these guys welcomed him on in because they shared the same concerns, conspiratorial concerns that they did, and it
Right.
was so quick to welcome him to their community. It was was interesting.
I think that's what Sacha Baron Cohen is good at, is like pulling out those little nuggets of like humanism in kind of some extreme weird people. The other thing that struck me was what the copy machine guy that he kept, or the fax machine guy that he kept going to send his ridiculous faxes.
Yeah.
The guy kept seeing it and was like, all right, how do you spell that? Like, it was like just
He's
this
just
ridiculous stuff.
along for the ride. It's probably the most exciting thing that happened to him all day.
Yeah, and he was just like, whatever, the guy's paying me to send this fax, I'll send whatever he wants.
Yeah. So we did have a couple listeners chime in with their experiences. First, Yankee Doodle Floppy Cards. I think he shared some of the same sentiments that we did. Maybe a little not as exciting as the original content, but still quite good. His exact words, but brilliant, which I think that very much describes what it takes to create a show like that. And then the other message was from Alec. And I think he was generally disappointed by the movie, which I kind of get. Just because it was not like any sequel, it didn't live up to the hype of the first, which I certainly agree with that. Overall.
It was also one of those things where when you see it, it was 10 years ago that we were watching Ali G, or 10 or 15 years ago maybe that we were watching Ali G, and 6 or 7 years, and like a lot of things changed. Like have you guys were you guys into Austin Powers when you were in like middle school, high school? Like I thought that was the funniest movie ever. And a few years ago I saw it again and I was like, this movie sucks. It's really, really bad. Really bad. And so there's just like, all it is nostalgia. And I think that's what Alec was getting at. He was like, I really liked the first one. So this one was like kind of fun to like get a reboot for a little bit, but didn't hold a candle to the first one. And I would say even the first one didn't hold a candle to the Ollie G show either.
Oh man. Yeah. Some of those were so funny.
That needs to return. That needs to be the next project for him.
Yeah, he just needs to come up with a couple new characters, right? Like, and he could do it.
Right? Just he could still do the same characters from the Ollie G show. I mean, he can loop Borat into it. It's no problem. He did a movie with Bruno, didn't he?
Yeah.
You don't think they're too mainstream? That's why I think they're too mainstream. Like too many people know and wouldn't be duped by it. But I would have thought that about this too. I guess he had his I keep calling it his wife, but his daughter do most of the like dirty work for those types of things. But anyway.
Yeah. You're gonna say something there, Craig?
Well, just a quick. A friend texted me the other day about another old show that we used to watch like in college. I don't know if you guys ever watched it, but Most Extreme Elimination Challenge, MXC. Do you guys remember that show? It was like a dubbed,
yeah.
It was like the precursor to Ninja Warrior.
Yeah. Well, not quite. It was like a funny version of that, or they turned it into like more of a Wipeout style thing, but it was overdubbed of this Japanese show. Anyway, he texted me and he was like, "It's on Amazon, and they're bringing it back." So he's watching it like with his kids, and I thought that was amazing. So keep an eye out for that. That's a funny show.
Yeah, it's
also
probably worth our time to.
Was the original premise of Borat coming to America to marry Pamela Anderson?
Oh, I don't remember. Is that where this comment's coming from?
That's from chat.
Okay, gotcha.
I vaguely remember that he would walk around with like a picture of her, asking where he could find her because he was here to marry her.
Then he like kidnapped her, right? Or he like captured her or something.
I think that was the premise, but that's very funny.
Yeah. All right. So, good work on the challenge, everybody except Perrick.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's okay. So let's move on. I think this is usually where we just do a pillar of some sort, but like all new episodes, we're just kind of riffing on what we want to talk about. So the thing more that we want to talk about more than anything was just our switch to Twitch, kind of just information about this. Yeah. Write that down. But yeah, I mean, it's just kind of talking about why we're doing this or something, or kind of the, I don't know. Peric is really the Twitch expert in the group. Would you say that's fair, Peric?
I would not use those words at all. Not even
Most
close.
experienced.
Yeah.
Right. So I kind of requested
Most
this topic,
experienced,
and I
yeah.
got made fun of initially, and then you guys acquiesced to maybe talk about it. And it was because of kind of what happened last time, right? And so it was like at the very, very end of. I honestly, if you would ask me what Twitch was a year ago, I would say it's, for people who watch other people playing World of Warcraft
Yeah.
and talk about it, and I did not understand it. I was like, whatever. I mean, I'm fine with it, but it's not something that I would ever engage in at all, right?
Sure.
And I think, and then when we switched, I think this is our third, or is this our fourth
I think it's our
time
fourth.
we've streamed? Maybe fourth time we streamed, and I still didn't understand it the first couple times, and then this raid thing happened at the very, very tail end of our last broadcast.
Like we nearly missed it.
Yeah, I kind of opened my eyes to what this world is, and I still am learning, obviously, but I think it's worth. I think our audience is maybe in the same boat that I was in as well. The podcast
It could
audience.
be wishful thinking, but
maybe. Right.
This is a
But,
reminder where we tell you that this podcast is about whatever we want it to be about.
in fact, it's no
Feel
longer
very
even
selfish.
a podcast. Maybe you guys
Yeah.
didn't know this is called a stream now. This is no longer a podcast. We don't have listeners. We have, what do we have? No, we are the streamers and we have viewers.
Viewers.
Oh, yeah, this is getting pretty complex pretty fast.
Dude, I know.
Slow down.
Yeah.
So tell us what the.
Well, no, I think
don't
it's
know,
worth
tell us
talking
what a
about.
rate is.
Well, yeah, I mean, we're not going to maybe start with that, but why that was important was because that was like so unexpected. We were just thinking about a different format so that we could be on have videos and stuff, but that was just like, I wish you guys could have seen my, like some of my, well, you guys did, but the viewers like could have seen some of my like texts after we got that raid, and just like my face and my heart and my like whole,
If you could have seen his heart, you would have just.
yeah, it was just like,
Three sides.
for whatever reason, it was just like very transformative. It was a very, like, it really created this like experience and this connection that we didn't think was ever going to happen. It was more just like, this was a different way to edit our existing podcast. So,
Right.
really, so yeah, it was, thanks again to Strictly Casual Official, by the way. They were the ones who rated us. And I forget how many people were there. I think they brought like 15 or 20 people.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. But okay, I guess maybe we'll start with the raid. What happened right at the end is what you do in Twitch. So we're like doing a stream right now, and what we could do is we could raid another stream. And basically, so we have, we've had some 14 viewers right now. I think like we could raid a different channel, and all 14 viewers in the chat or watching the stream right now would basically get carried over to that other stream, and they would all of a sudden show up in that person's feed, and it would say all the, these 14 people are now watching you. Now, some of these raids, of course, you're bringing thousands of people. Like some of the big streamers are doing crazy stuff where they're like absolutely changing.
Those are our 2021 goals. We'll
Yeah,
get there.
exactly. But basically, it's just like a way to bring a lump of people over to a different stream to either watch, a lot of people just do it like for their friends or whatever, to keep the experience seamless between streams or whatever. But sometimes you go like to like what those guys did, and I don't know, probably the listeners didn't, but I went, and Mitch, I know you went and watched Strictly Casual Official stream to see like we could see at the end of their stream, they're like, all right, we're going to raid somebody. Let's raid somebody new. Let's raid somebody we don't know. Let's raid another podcast. Let's raid another multi-person podcast. And it went through like all their things. And then you're watching them
Filter down as
scroll
these guys
through
look cool.
Twitch, and they're like, hey, what are these guys? Good guys to know. Okay, how about those guys? They look good. That looks like a good podcast. And then, my whole night and week was just like completely changed because of that. And it was just
Right.
amazing.
It was during like the outro music. that
Yeah,
they came.
exactly.
And you were like, what the hell's going on? He's like, guys, we're getting raided. And the three of us had absolutely no effing clue what that meant.
No
I was
clue.
like, did that mean we got hacked? Like, is my
Cool,
personal
let's
information
go.
gone? Like,
Yeah.
what is happening?
It's just one of the ways that different like communities of viewers or followers of different channels can just like very quickly and seamlessly connect with different ones. Some that they've been familiar with, some that they haven't been familiar with, whatever. And so we did a raid at the end of ours, right? We sort of like shared the love there and went over
Double
to,
raid.
yeah.
And you must have known that all this was going. Like, you knew what this was.
So
right?
I've
When
been
it
watching
happened,
a ton
like,
of Twitch. People raid all the time, but it's always like they're bringing hundreds and hundreds of people, and it's like a real thing. And people get, for 10 people, I didn't think it like people really did that, and I wouldn't think it would have had as big of an impact as it did, like to me.
So
personally, it was just so.
Why does it
cool.
matter to the streamer to get a bunch of people that hop into their stream in mass?
There we go.
Like this?
There we go. 46 with the raid emote as well. We'll talk about those a little bit. But why does it matter? I mean, we got like 8 or 10 new followers from the people who came along with the raid, for one.
And what do followers do for you?
So followers are just part of your community. There's no benefit. There's no cost. There's there's benefit. But there's for a follower, the only real benefit is that you get like notified when people go live. So
Sure.
we have a good chunk of followers, and everybody's getting notified on their Twitch apps and things, push notifications. That's the benefit of being a follower. If you care about somebody's stream and you want to know about what's going on, you should follow it for sure.
And like Minute says, you also then find these awesome new Twitch streams that are going on, like echolocations.
Oh, yeah.
That dude was good.
I watch that too.
He is
I watch
good.
him all
He's
the
still
time.
streaming.
I watch him all
Yeah.
the time. But yeah, so following somebody is just really, it's the same as like following somebody on Facebook or whatever. It's a very simple thing, or following somebody on Twitter. It's all.
But it matters to us, doesn't it? Right? Like, so if we get more followers, we get more options as far as our stream goes.
So we'll talk about kind of the tiers of how to exist on Twitch, I guess. So one is your follower count is just how many people are interested in what you're doing. At a certain point, you can meet certain criteria, one of which is how many followers you have to become a Twitch affiliate, they call it. And once you're a Twitch affiliate, you get more options for your stream. You get so we were seeing emotes in the stream. You get like some extra emotes. People get the ability to subscribe, which is, so it's different than following, but subscribing is where you would actually support the streamer like financially. So you would subscribe to a particular Twitch stream for $5 a month. And with
Is that just donated money, or does that get them something?
it goes to so half of it goes to the streamer.
Yeah.
So you pay your $4.99 a month. You pay your $4.99. Yeah.
God, I really effed up the R.
I thought that was on purpose to bother me again.
It wasn't. I was trying
okay.
to actually.
Your
recreate the
block
icon.
letters, man. It doesn't work for you. It just doesn't. You gotta practice that, Mitch.
All right.
Okay.
So affiliate gets you the ability to have subscribers, and so I did want to talk about subscribers a little bit. So you can pay to subscribe to people. That's basically it, and they get money. That's good for the streamer. But then there's also these things, and I was mentioning this to Mitch in the stream. I have like 5 active Twitch subscriptions right now, which is crazy because it's like I'm not going to pay $25 a month for watching people on Twitch, right? So what people do, and what I think is really cool, is they will donate a subscription for a month to somebody else in the chat at the time. You can either donate it to a specific person that you would like to make them a subscriber to that channel, or you can randomly distribute a subscription to anybody in the chat, right? So as I've been watching Twitch, people do this all the time. They do this all the time. Almost every single stream I've watched, somebody donates a subscription to somebody else. And it's like a way to, it's kind of like a tip jar kind of thing. Like if you're liking what the streamer does and you want to, so again, we keep using the word community a little bit, but rather than just give the guy $2.50, giving somebody a subscription to that streamer creates like a connection there between that viewer and that streamer, and for a month-long period. So they're more likely to log on. They're more likely to interact. All these things are much different than just giving somebody $2.50, which I find fascinating, because I've been gifted and not for doing anything, just from randomly being in somebody's stream when some person donates 10 gift subscriptions and one of them just happened to go to me.
So let me ask you this. Let's say I decide I really like this streamer. I want to subscribe to them. So that gives them a donation, which is great.
Yep.
Does it give me anything? Do I get access to anything that I didn't already have as a subscriber?
Yes. So there will be an ad that plays like at the beginning of streams when you log on, when they're affiliates. You get past that. So that's one small benefit. Again, it's all pretty small. You're
get that dopamine hit when they announce that you're a subscriber.
It's huge.
I want to get into that. I want to get into that because that's what I was feeling.
So that's like the really like what seems dumb about Twitch, but for some reason is so magnetic, is like, so when you're a subscriber, you get to use different emotes than other people. So basically you get different like emojis in the chat that let people know that you are a subscriber, because only subscribers can use those. You also sometimes you get a little badge next to your name, that'll tell you. And then there are like streaks that get different badges. Like I'm a 1 month subscriber, I'm a 2 month subscriber, I'm a 10-month subscriber, whatever, different badges. So there's like this whole like
gamified, which makes sense, right? Because it all started out with games, right?
Totally.
But they gamified like listening to podcasts or listening to or watching something.
And I'm not gonna lie, when I go into these streams and I'm watching them, and they're these ones that I've gotten gifted subs to, it's like I love using those subscriber only emotes. Like I love it, and I love having that badge next to my name. It's not as dumb as I thought it was, but it is dumb. It's hard to explain.
Well, I think there's something profound, and if there's people out there that are still just kind of downloading the podcast in their own, in their Apple iTunes or whatever, and just listening to us on their way to work, which I guess you're not driving to work probably anymore, but give it it is a different experience, and it's a different thing, right? Which you guys may have picked up on, but like we're trying to call people out in the chat, right? And every time you get called out in the chat, like when we did that raid, I think the guy said, Mitchie 6666 is here or whoever. It's
well, it said Good Guys to Know rated. Good Guys to Know followed, and he followed us. Echolocations is following us. So maybe he got a notification that we're live. I don't know. Maybe he's in the
when
chat
I followed
now.
him, like your name flashes across the screen and it's happening, and he might say your name, and it's this like weird psychological thing that feels a little more interactive than just a regular podcast.
It's interesting. Right? I mean, so Echolocations, I think, is the example that we're using because he had a lot of followers, like thousands of followers, and really good guitar player, musician, but he's probably also just like Ricky from down the street, So
I was watching his stream the other night,
and it's so important,
and he was
that he's
on the sidewalk.
Why is it so important that he says our podcast name? It is. We all felt like, that was cool. So that's what's
it's something you don't get anywhere else.
Yes.
You just don't get it anywhere else. You don't get it watching YouTube videos of people doing improvisational music. You don't get that. I was in it, so I watch echolocations a lot, just because like if I'm at my computer doing something and I get a notification that he's on, I turn it on just to kind of whatever.
Well, it's good music too.
It's
like
great.
To just have in the background.
It's great. But one night he was drinking a bunch. I don't know if it was champagne or what, but he was celebrating, and I was kind of watching. I was like, "What's going on?" And he was so excited. He'd just gotten approved for his mortgage. Like he was trying to buy a house for so long. He's got a little girl, and I feel like I know this guy almost. And he was so excited that he got his first. And that was just like, I don't know, interesting for me to see. It was like, I felt like I was kind of part of it or whatever. And then another time I was watching him this week, he was doing Who Wants a Lick? He would say, Who wants a lick? And you'd put your name in the chat and you'd raise your hand in the chat, and he'd have his background beats going or whatever. And then he'd play like a guitar riff, and he'd be like, that one was for you. good guys to know. And then he'd go to the next one, and he'd play a different lick, and then he'd call out some, and it was just like this interactive thing. It was so cool, so much better than just watching somebody.
Yeah.
So I keep going back to this whole like community thing. It definitely feels different. You definitely feel like you're like part of his club, and it's free to join. And the other thing I've noticed about all of these people, basically everybody I've watched on Twitch, it's been limited. I'm not an expert, but I am wasting a lot of time on Twitch these days. Everybody is super nice. Everybody is like, if anybody ever comes into the chat and is mean or whatever, people almost kind of like gang up on them and or her and get them out of the chat, and just, you know, you don't necessarily you can ban people and you can do all that stuff, but it's more like there's like a peer pressure to be nice out there almost.
That's
kind of like Reddit. It's like Reddit. Like you kind of, there's this kind of, are you guys not buying that?
Well, have you felt Reddit change over the years?
How so?
I feel like I was thinking of that example, and I feel like I remember a time when I was first learning about Reddit that it was like, oh, this is great. Like people upvote and downvote things is wholesome. It has gotten, I don't know. I get not a great feeling like that. Not the same feeling on Reddit as what Peric's talking about on Twitch. I think it has kind of grown out of that in a way.
I would agree with that. I just feel like, yeah, Reddit it's like all about the community, and it's like about building people up in these subreddits. And I don't like kind of get that same sensation with Twitch, but I think Twitch is like more genuine. And I don't know if that's truly genuine or if it's just that like people are doing what they got to do to get followers and to get subscribers and to like make a buck. Like,
yeah, there's this weird slimy feeling aspect of it where it's like, I got to read every name. You know, these people are just like, the content suffers because they're just constantly calling out the new subscribers and the new people that come into chat, right? Like even echolocations, right? Like he kind of like, you know, he'll jam for 2 minutes and then he'll spend 2 minutes calling out subscriptions and stuff. And so it's like kind of,
you can see when people have like tons of viewers, they start, you know, they obviously start to ignore that. And it's kind of like there's probably sort of a critical mass where the value of talking to everybody as they say things sort of is like, you must be doing something so cool that so many people are there watching you that you don't, you know, that part of the formula gets diminished a little bit, probably, where they don't have to interact with every single comment or every single subscription, whatever. I was watching another guy, a musician. I like the music on Twitch, actually. I mostly watch musicians. And I was watching one of him, and he was like the opening act for this talk show, which I'd never heard of, but apparently it's like, it's got to be like one of the most famous Twitch streamers out there. What is it? Austin Show is his name. But he does like this talk show type thing. I haven't really watched it, but I was watching this guy, and I was in there with like 25 people. And then this other guy's stream turns on and hosts the first guy as like the opening musical act for his show.
Okay.
The talk show guy has like 70,000 people watching his stream, like in the first
on Twitch.
Yeah, just on Twitch. Just like like his stream goes live, and then it's just like you look at the little red guy that says how many people are watching, and it's just going like as fast as numbers can go up to 60,000 people. And then this other guy who's got 25 people in his chat room is like, okay, I guess it's showtime. And you look at I had both of them up. I had the Austin Show, and I had the other guy, Charles Jones, and it was like the other guy's chat was going so fast you couldn't read anything. It was just like there's no way you could interact, and it was just complete garbage and nonsense and emotes, and it was crazy. Inside jokes in the chat flying by so quickly. And then the other guy's chat was like, everybody was in there like, oh my gosh, there are 50,000 people watching. Like, I can't believe there are this many people. It was just amazing. And that was another experience. It was like, I felt like I was part of that very small community. Like I was part of a club. It sounds weird to say it like that, but it's definitely what it feels like.
It is interesting though. I mean, those are real feelings you're having that are created by this community maker, right? Like it's this software that is providing that. So I don't know. what I wonder is, are people who are maybe, and I'm not saying this is you, Peric, but are people who are maybe more a little socially anxious, more apt to get those kind of good, positive community feelings on something like Twitch compared to just kind of going out? And then right now, in the middle of COVID, when nobody can gather and join their own community, is this the replacement?
So I think obviously COVID is a big part of it. I also think there is never in a million years could I go to a concert of this guy playing piano and say something to him.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, what key was that in? And have him say it was an E flat. Like, there's no way that interaction would ever happen.
Huh.
Like, there's zero possibility in a crowded bar or something. But now,
so go ahead.
I was going to say now, like, if I go to one of this guy's concerts, let's say, one of these people I watch, I've often had, like, you know, I think, like, if I were to go, like, get an autograph at the end or something, and I would be like, hey, man, I'm Good Guys to Know on Twitch. He would know. Like, he would know, and he would like that. And
He would like it. So that's the thing. So, Parrot, this is a question I've got for you. I think this concert performer thing is a good example because you've done this. You've played shows at bars and things, right?
Yeah.
As a performer, if someone after a song had yelled out to you, "What key was that in?" How would you have felt? Like, would you have been cool with that?
Well, I
would
wouldn't
that
have
have been
known.
a little annoying?
Most likely, I would not have known the answer to that.
But you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
Like, this guy was very gracious in answering that, and I feel like other performers would find that annoying, like a live performer.
When you certainly couldn't
It's a
have.
self-selecting group of performers that want that interaction. Right, like if you want to play, if you want to play to a stadium of 50,000 people and just make a ton of money, that's one thing. Or if you want to play to, if you're in a coffee shop.
But the other thing is, if you're
make both of those things seem so likely to happen. Like, if you want to play in front of 50,000 people, that's
do that.
Easier.
You do it, man.
Even in a coffee shop, people don't.
No, but there are people
like shout out to the performer.
The product that that performer is selling is not about interaction. It's about a total one-way street, right? And so the product on Twitch is two-way, and that's what these subscribers are paying for, right?
Interesting.
But I will say there are people who are streaming on Twitch musical performances to thousands and thousands and thousands of people, and they do not answer questions like what key was that in. So that's there are different levels of how you want to interact. You can go watch big streamers play video games, and they got 20,000 people watching them play these games, and you're not necessarily going to feel like a part of the community with the streamer per se, I would guess. But in the chat, there's all kinds of stuff going on. And even beyond the chat, I did want to bring up one thing that I've seen, and as an old man, I want to use this service, and I like using it, but it's kind of like it's a young person thing, it seems, these days. But have you guys heard of Discord? The app Discord?
Oh, yeah.
I've heard the word, but I don't know what it is.
So a lot of these streams sort of have kind of overflow community parking over on Discord. So they'll create this Discord server, and a Discord server is basically a chat room.
Yeah.
It's basically a chat room with different channels. You can have a channel for upcoming shows. You can have a channel for, promotion. You can have a channel for general discussion. You can have a channel for jokes, whatever. You just kind of set it up. And then these people on who are watching on Twitch, they'll just say, okay, go over and join the Discord. So when the streamer isn't streaming, you can interact with them over on Discord. Or they have, like, moderators of their accounts that are running their Discord, and there's all this
because of course when the stream ends, then the chat goes away, and so then the community is shut down. Right. So then they just transfer it over.
So Discord makes a lot of sense, and I'm actually I've joined 4 or 5 different Twitch streamers Discords, and it's very fun. Like, I mean, it's just, you do get a little bit of a rush, like, interacting with some of these people, even though they're probably just people sitting in their house, like,
of course they are,
you are,
right? Exactly. But it's a different kind of experience that I've never been able to get. You can't get it out of YouTube.
I was gonna say there's very rare. We've lived 30 35 years on this world, and like it's very rare that you experience something new and like know you're experiencing like something very new. I don't know. And I felt that.
We should put the caveat that this is not new. Twitch has been
That's
around
true.
for a while. It's
Right.
new to us, right?
For sure.
Absolutely.
It may be
sure.
new to some of our
Maybe
listeners.
so. Yeah. Maybe so. Yeah. But like even when it comes to technology and stuff, it's this gradual thing. But I felt something very distinctly different.
It's
A couple weeks ago when all this raid crap happened.
It's
Like,
also-
it was just different.
Mhm.
it's also
Technology, but it was like this social thing. It was this technology thing. It was this conglomeration of broadband. It was two-way interaction. It was cool.
But I mean, YouTube does this too. YouTube, everybody live streams to YouTube as well.
Mhm.
It's not like Twitch has invented something that's completely unique.
Mhm.
There are other options. You can
So
watch.
what makes it different then? Is it that culture that it's cultivated that started with gamers?
I can't quite say because I'm not in any of those other communities right now. I mean, I've watched live premieres and things on YouTube. Maybe you guys have done it with
Same.
like No Laying Up, the podcast.
Yeah.
They'll have live premieres and you can go in the chat room and potentially they will chat back at you type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are also, people will stream if we paid, I think, for a premium kind of service package or whatever, we could stream this to YouTube and Twitch at the same time in like simulcast type thing. It's all the services support it, and I think there are others besides just YouTube and Twitch, obviously. But yeah, I can really only speak of the time I'm dumping into Twitch and what it's providing me.
Do you have any indicator of like how big the population is, like compared to
Twitch
YouTube, or
users or
compared to
something, or-
yeah, like active users compared to Twitter or Facebook, or like Facebook, I'm sure is.
I was wondering about that too. You hear like how
just had it up? Yeah.
whatever 24 hours of YouTube are created every second or something like that. Like it's
Yes.
it's like an exponentially growing content. I wonder how that compares on Twitch because it's just all
I-
live. That's all. That's
Yeah.
like what people want.
I
But
lost the tab that had it, but no, I lost the tab that had it. Dang it, sorry. Not good. I could find it, but it's
so yeah.
yeah.
The other thing I wanted to say about this is just that I feel like this is the most empathetic experience online. I think and it's also one of the clearest examples of empathy that I can think of. Like you are really experiencing this with all the other people in the chat room and the person who's streaming. Like it is very,
I can't
very
even.
communal.
Charles Jones, when I was watching him, and I've watched him a bunch of times. I've donated money to his tip jar. Like I'm really into this guy, supporting him and whatever. He was in a couple of Wolfpack songs that he did. I was whatever. Awesome musician, amazing. But I remember watching him when he got the intro job for this massive talk show that I was talking about. And it was like I could kind of tell that he was nervous, and I could kind of tell that he was different than he normally was on other streams. And I could tell that like I was nervous that something would go wrong. I was nervous that like the technology would fail and the audio would go bad.
Right.
And I was having all these like real emotions that I would have in real life with my real friends.
You think that's just you?
It maybe, but does it matter?
No, I think you're onto something though.
I agree.
So I guess the question I have is like, how do I find my Charles Jones?
Yeah.
Like,
Well,
Yeah.
first of all, start
how
with
did
Charles
you happen
Jones.
upon this guy? What was it?
First of all, just start with Charles Jones. Because
But I mean,
like the
I'm sure there's somebody out there
Match.com of Twitch.
that you can relate to in some sense, but
Mhm.
that is also entertaining and provides kind of some value that way, but isn't so big that you get lost in the crowd. You know what I mean? Like
so
Yeah,
how
for
much
sure.
time have you spent out there?
very little.
There's
So
that's
I'm
the other thing I
not-
like.
I'm not asking the question
I know.
completely literally for me, but I think that that's a good question because that seems like the perfect Twitch experience. What you're just describing is in some way, whether it's mostly a one-way relationship or completely a one-way relationship. I don't think it's completely equal between you and Charles Jones, but you have a relationship, right? And you felt what he was feeling in that moment, which is a really cool human connection that probably flooded your brain with dopamine and felt great and,
Yeah,
and is a good thing, right? So there's something about that small number, and you would never get that with, someone streaming Modern Warfare or some other video game with 30,000 followers.
So, I mean, obviously, a lot of people on Twitch like watching video games, and that's, I would say probably the lion's share of all of the content that's getting produced. And I do. And geez, did you guys see that? I just like bit my own tooth.
Bit your tooth?
Yeah, did you hear that?
It's so meta. Like, how do you?
Yeah.
Seems like an impossible thing. Let me draw a picture of it.
Get it, Mitch?
But I log on to watch video games sometimes. Like, it's very useful when I want to figure out if I want to buy a video game.
Yeah.
And I have done that where I log in and you can actually ask the person questions. One recent experience I had with that was the PGA Tour 2K21, the golf game.
Sorry, Peric. I can't.
What?
Watching Mitch create this in real time. I'm empathizing with Mitch right now, looking at it and thinking, that's not right.
That's a good one.
Anyways, see, so you're playing.
So I'm playing this golf game, and I was like, I didn't want to buy it. It looked good, so I just logged on and I talked to some streamers about it. And I was like, hey, how long does it take to play a round? Or what do you play on PC and Xbox? Which one do you like better? Blah blah blah, and you can just sort of get real-time feedback in that kind of context. But yeah, you can also see some of the best like elite video gamers out there that are streaming.
So the one video game I played in the last 5 years is Civ 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Civ 5. And so I there's some Civ 5 channels out there, and I browsed to them and I looked at them, but like they all had 1 or 2 viewers, and so I didn't go into any of them because I was nervous.
Oh, that's interesting.
I was
We
nervous.
talked
Do the
about
opposite.
this.
Go
It
in.
was like,
This is the reality of social anxiety.
I feel like
in the
Twitch is like
digital
the
world.
bar. Yeah, exactly. Like Twitch is like the bar, and these Civ 5 guys were like the hot girl that I was certainly not going to approach.
But
You know
they're
what I mean?
not.
Like,
They're totally not hot. The reason you didn't approach them is because they only had a couple people interested. It's like the opposite. They're the
maybe
they're
so.
the
Maybe
algo
so.
at the bar.
You should go in there. Go in there and chat a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Just say something.
Make sure it's witty and like the best comment in the whole stream.
Yeah.
No, I was playing
you
Rocket
lost-
League the other night. I was just playing, and I turned the stream on just because sometimes our friends like are busy with bedtime or whatever and like to turn the stream on. So I usually fire it up, and I get this random guy comes in and he's like, "Hey," and I was like, "Oh, hey," and he's like, "Oh, you should disable this camera shake setting in options. It'll make it a lot easier for you." And so I was like,
He was giving you,
okay. So he's giving me
you
tips. Giving me tips. He followed my channel, and it was like he gave me a handful of tips, and then he was like, "Oh yeah, well, if you ever need somebody and I'm online, just hit me up. I'll join you."
Mitch,
just like-
are you so jealous of that guy? You wish
A little
you
bit.
could.
That's
He
a
joined.
baller move. That's
I had
pretty-
0 viewers,
an
and he
alpha.
hopped in. Yeah.
That is an alpha. I'm definitely a beta Twitch guy.
So, but can we drill into this for just a second? Because I think there's the anonymity of Twitch or lack thereof is super interesting. Because I think that's, Mitch, what you were talking about. That's where your discomfort came from. Is if you were to join this group of 3 followers,
Ultrastar thinks we should recategorize.
I think we could.
Recategorize into art. I mean, look at that.
That's pretty good.
That's almost as big as my nose. I mean, it's close. But so, Mitch, you wouldn't be anonymous in that group, right?
Right.
Which is weird in the digital world to not be anonymous. We've gotten pretty used to that. Probably you wouldn't have walked away from that stream if it was just a YouTube video and not a stream. You would have watched that thing. But the fact that
Hold on. Did you watch it? You don't have to talk to the person. You can lurk as
I knew
much
that
as
they
you
would
want.
see me watching, and then
No.
this guy's watching and not. And
See,
not
he didn't
saying
even
anything.
watch
What
He's a
creepy-
lurker.
What a creepo.
You're not even
Yeah.
a lurker. You should lurk.
Okay.
You should lurk. If you're looking for something.
This might be good. This might be good for you, Mitch. You should seek these out and just like push through it, tolerate
Yeah.
it,
Yeah, like
See- like an exposure.
exposure therapy. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Thank
Exactly.
you.
Exactly.
They do
And
on
there's no harm, right? Other than your feelings, you never meet these people again.
See, look at these emotes. We got a Bob Ross emote.
Oh,
From Ultrastar.
that's awesome.
There we go. You Nightbot finally let Ultrastar
Well,
do an emote.
So is he a subscriber? Is that why
was
he has a
spamming
Bob Ross emote?
No, there are default emotes that everybody can kind of use.
Oh, okay. Bob Ross is in there? That's fantastic.
Seems
this
like
must be a great platform.
There's a Twitch channel of old Bob Ross episodes that they stream.
Oh God, Bob Ross, he's awesome. That guy.
Bob
Do you
Ross,
know
Bob
that?
Ross.
So, close friends and some listeners might know that I work in child psychiatry and I'm work in a day treatment program. We show Bob Ross videos on the regular. Like
Really?
we'll run a group with kids that are struggling with various things, and just have an art group with Bob Ross because it's therapy. The guy is freaking amazing. It's like Bob Ross and Mr. Rogers as like the two best people that ever lived.
Yeah.
Maybe your religious figures join him in there depending on your
A
belief
distant
system. But holy cow, yeah, Bob Ross, big fan. Anyways, that was weird.
I don't know if I'm producing any valuable content out of this other than I feel like initially when I looked at Twitch, so my first frame was like, okay, we could do video on this. They would host it for us. It's free, whatever. It would be the path of least resistance to get to a video podcast. Okay. And that's totally valid. Mitch, your video's frozen or you're standing completely still? I can't quite tell.
I think Mitch, he's dealing with his internet issues here.
Yeah. No way he
dropped.
hard.
Oh,
He
no.
lost him. He's
Oh
out.
no, that's catastrophic for the stream layout, boys.
You are the weakest.
He's the
link.
last. He's the last ad. He's the last ad. We're good.
Yeah, no, but Chad is now split in between Mitch's
Come
frame.
on back, Mitch.
We need him back.
Yeah.
Our
Now is he
infrastructure
back?
can't handle that.
There we go. Oof. Sorry about that.
Okay.
Almost
Mitch,
had a panic attack. there.
Someone donate some money for Mitch to get better internet, please.
Did you guys boot me?
No, you
No.
froze
You
and
just
got
lost your
kicked.
connection, bro.
Your wife must have started checking email.
So I was saying I went from thinking this was just like a tool to like save and distribute video to now I'm like excited when I get a push notification that that people are
Pull up
live.
your-
If
pull up your
Charles
phone. What's
Charles
your
Jones goes
usage?
live, I like call my kids over and I'm like, "Hey guys, let's watch some music." It's like we'll interrupt what we're doing. Like it's some of them are very I don't know, they're like important push notifications to me now. As far as the echelon of things that pop up on my phone that I care about, Twitch is actually pretty far up there. And then when I'm bored, I get way more out of killing boredom on Twitch than on YouTube.
You said that.
Do you follow any famous streamers as you talked about rounding your kids up to watch music or a musician? It made me wonder if like Martin Sexton, for example, is an artist that we really enjoy and maybe isn't totally mainstream. Is he on Twitch?
I haven't
is there
seen him on
anybody
there.
like that you
He's
follow?
done so like in COVID, people and chat mentioned Facebook. Like Facebook has a streaming thing too. That's obviously gaining tons of ground and it's a big player in the game now. But so I've watched some live concerts on Facebook as well for some of those people. Twitch is, I don't know. I don't watch many like concerts on Twitch. I watch more like the Twitch music experience is more. It's almost like a lot of them take requests. Like in chat, you can use commands to send requests into their queue, or you can donate bits, which are like it's just like money that you can put in the chat. You can donate bits to ask for a certain request, and they'll play it. And it's a little more. It's not like watching a concert.
Cool.
I just had an idea. I used to really love going to piano bars where they play covers and stuff. I could just throw a Twitch stream up on the TV in the era of COVID, and I'm sure there's a piano bar stream
Gotta be.
somewhere. That sounds kind of fun, actually.
But you can do that on YouTube, I would argue. Like if you're just looking to watch
No,
something.
I want to do it on Twitch. I can only learn one new thing at a time, Perry. Just like,
if you just want to
YouTube's
watch
like-
something, YouTube's totally sufficient for that, I would say.
but
But if
He
you
wants to request a song.
but
He
what
wants
if I
to-
want to request a song with a tip? You know, like you would do in a piano bar.
sure. Okay. Yeah.
Right?
It's a good
Yeah.
model.
Yeah.
I think bottom line probably is that like, give Twitch is maybe not just a way for nerds to have people watch their video games.
Right.
Like, and I say nerd not pejoratively, like, but that's what I thought it was, 6 weeks ago. Right. And I thought it was a tool, and I like had a special experience a couple weeks ago. Right. Like, it was different. It was cool, and it was social, and it was technological, and it was just a cool thing. So, like, give it a chance.
Mitch had to clean up afterwards. It was pretty wild. Now we lost Jeffrey. Not his stream though.
How do you spell Tijuana?
He's back. We couldn't do that on the podcast. We have to be like, guys, talk without me, and then go and take care of whatever you needed. That's the thing I like about Twitch is it's pretty laid back. At least that's the culture. That's what it feels like.
For sure. Well, Peric, we're running a little long on the podcast. Any other Twitch things you want to throw out there?
I could talk about this for forever.
Twitch. Peric just agreed to play a little music. What do you got for us?
Oh, no. I was making a reference.
I don't think he agreed.
Yeah, no. It's just
Do you have your bass sitting around? You gonna slap at a bass a little bit?
yeah, I got all my stuff over there. Sure, of course.
Maybe next time. We'll give you a little more heads up.
Nobody loves anything more than just a bass solo.
Solid
bass
line.
riff. This riff's for you.
Yeah, I'll give somebody a riff. So there are these other things when you're in a affiliate chat. You gain points just by watching, and then you can turn in your points for stuff like at an arcade. And so people have do a magic trick. Give me.
It seems like they've got enough cute little gimmicks like that a Facebook or a YouTube doesn't have. That
it's
kind of hook you, right? That hook
definitely
you
different.
in a different dopamine way, a different pathway.
Yeah,
right, you got the whole social pathway, but then you've also got this gaming and streak pathway. That it's just a cool thing.
So I guess to end with like a call to action type thing, that what's the point of talking about all this? I think you would be surprised if you actually hung out on Twitch a little bit and went into a room and talked to somebody while they were doing something that you were interested in. There's a ton of stuff out there. Artists doing we watched that guy Mitch, Tom.
Yeah, Tom Thinks blew my mind.
I'm a subscriber to Tom Thinks. Thanks to a
Can
gift
we post a
subscription.
link on our chat that allows people to subscribe? Is there a way to do that?
No, we can't subscribe yet. We're not.
I mean that allows people to follow Tom Thinks. Is it follow or what do you call it?
Yeah, they could go follow Tom Thinks. Just go look him up.
But what is
Just look him up.
That
maybe
that
we should raid that.
That was a whole other.
We'll talk about that. Yeah,
right?
so we should raid somebody tonight. Just so I kind of that was just such a transformative experience for me, and it was such a tiny gesture for those guys. It was just a formality, and I don't want to say that people will actually care that we do it, but I want to try it just to sort of illustrate what happens. I mean, we did it, but now you guys have a little more context, I guess. And I do know, I don't want to rush us through this episode, but Echolocations is live right now. Raid him again.
Well, why don't we take some if viewers have suggestions on who we should raid, we could consider those. Just send them in. Otherwise, maybe we'll go just totally random. But
I think
why
you
don't
can
we
go
make
random too.
Make it a plan to raid something or somebody.
So we will end the podcast with a raid, but before we get there, we've got a couple other things to take care of.
Business to take care of.
Mm-hmm.
The first is everybody's favorite segment, Significant Surrender. This is your first time listening. This is a trivia game, unlike any trivia game ever created, where I read a question and each of the other guys get a chance to buzz in by saying their name. Whoever says their name first gets their first chance at answering. And we've been doing this for the whole year. So scores right now. Mitch is in the lead with 23 points. Chad one behind at 22. Herrick one behind that at 21. So
Shout out,
That was tough for me.
Really a horse apiece here.
And we are probably, we're going to end this at the end of the year, right? Or at least end this round.
I don't think we ever end it. We just
we're just going to go.
I think there will be a definitive ending point, likely the end of the year, but I think this segment might run again.
That's
in the future.
It's two more episodes after this.
We're getting close. All right, we ready? Peric, does everything look good? The stream looks good. Okay, first question. What city entertains 35,000 patrons per week at its 2 permanent Cirque du Soleil shows?
Peric.
Mitch.
Perrick was first.
Las Vegas.
Is correct.
Good one.
Easy one. Good job.
I was gonna say Paris anyway.
Oh, really? Okay. All right.
Stupid guess. It's a French name.
All right. Here we go. Next question. Who was told to lose 50 pounds, cut off his ponytail, and promise not to wear a silk kimono before he could star in Exit
Chad.
Wound? Chad.
Mitch.
Steven Seagal.
Steven Seagal is
Boom.
correct. Nicely done. Everybody gaining ground on our leader, Mitch. Next question. What biblical code
Yeah.
name?
Oh, Jeffrey.
It,
What?
Let's
this
hear
is
it.
part of the, got aggressive. What biblical code name? You want to guess one? Do you know a word from the Bible?
Well, back when you read it the first time, I was gonna guess Hammurabi's code, but I guess I'll guess Hammurabi's code name. Final answer.
That is not correct. Let me read the full question so everybody gets a chance to answer except
Are you gonna get it right this time, like in English?
What biblical code name did Ted Turner use for CBS in secret plans to launch a hostile takeover of the network?
What?
Perrick.
Perrick?
Judas.
Oh, good guess. It is not Judas.
Oh.
Mitch.
Go ahead, Mitch.
Kane.
It is not Cain. The answer is Goliath. You guys were in
Judas
the
would have been better.
right vein there.
Had the
Good
right
guess.
book, right?
We all were in the right vein.
Everybody was great. Everybody who heard the full question. All right. Next question. What comic strip character had been, in quotes, 5.5 for 50 years by
Chad.
2000? Chad was first.
I think it's Charlie Brown.
That's incorrect. Mitch, rang in next.
I don't get the question right again, probably.
Probably not.
Calvin.
That's a good guess, but it's not right.
Oh.
I'll finish the question here. What comic strip character had been, in quotes, 5.5 for 50 years by 2001?
For 50 years, Snoopy.
Who's
Has not
Family
has not-
Circus?
Yeah, I don't know
No,
what
the
his
answer
name
was Dennis
Cats and Jammer.
the Menace.
Menace.
good one.
Menace.
They always use that
Forgettable.
Cats and
Good-
Jammer
good
Kids
question.
comic strip in Trivial Pursuit. I don't know what it is, but
Okay, second to last question for the night. What insect-borne disease do scientists predict will eliminate 75% of the remaining Hawaiian honeycreeper birds?
Perrick.
Go ahead, Perrick.
Avian flu.
That's not correct. You guys want the question again?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
What insect-borne disease do scientists predict will eliminate 75% of the remaining Hawaiian honeycreeper birds?
Mitch.
Go ahead, Mitch.
Malaria.
That's correct.
Oh,
Yes, malaria.
Birds can get malaria?
Evidently. The answer is malaria. Good
Nice.
job, Mitch. Last question for the evening. Who was paid a reported $2 million just to show up at the 2000 Dubai
Perrick.
Desert? Perrick?
Tiger Woods.
That's correct. Very
Good
apropos.
Gosh.
As we enter everyone's favorite week of the year, the Masters.
Masters Week, baby.
Always in November. But yeah, Tiger Woods paid $2 million just to show up at the 2000 Dubai Desert Classic. So I think that makes things pretty tight here. Do we get a little slightly tighter? What are the final
night
scores
bot.
here, Perrick?
Nightbot is on it tonight, boys.
God,
23,
malaria.
23, 24.
You gotta adjust Nightbot because I want so many more emotes in our chat.
That's
They
not
shouldn't-
that's
they
not how
shouldn't-
Nightbot works. But Nightbot is he's just an auto
The hell is
moderator,
Nightbot?
and if you put exclamation Sig Sir in chat, he'll give you the score. Or if you put exclamation YT, he'll give us our YouTube link. He just like does.
Yeah, but Ultrastar was
housekeeping
trying to
things.
send some emotes and it
Yeah, he's
He blocked him.
He's an
Censored
auto
it.
moderator. Yeah, he was spamming emotes. He wasn't just sending emotes. He sent too many of them too quickly. So there are thresholds that I can adjust.
You don't get
There's
to
no
pick and
such-
choose
No such
what,
thing in Mitch's
what
book.
aspects
or
of
emotes.
Nightbot you
So
use.
excess emotes is enabled for Nightbot, and I can go to my options, and if the limit is 3 emotes, probably
Make it
in a
10.
row.
Make it 10.
I think we need to
All
get
right,
in a source
it's
code
10.
on this one.
Go ahead, Ultrastar. Get up to 10. Let's see if we can do it.
Make my day.
Here they go.
That's the other thing. So I forgot to mention, or maybe I'll mention when we get to the raid. Are we going off? What do we have? New challenge?
We have a
we
New
gotta
challenge.
get a
challenge. Let's get the new
Yeah.
challenge.
Don't let me
Who's got
forget the
new
details
challenge?
about the raid when we get there. I have the new challenge. Oh, let me go to new scene here. Yeah, hype us up, man. Hype it.
Hype is
Um,
good, Ultrastar.
So this is related to the Twitch. I'll go back to our. This is related to the Twitch episode in that I was watching Twitch today, just aimlessly. Nobody I subscribed to was on, or nobody I followed was on. I was just looking, and I think you have to send it in different messages to hit the spam. Like you have to hit emote enter
Enter. Yeah.
Anyway, I was watching this guy, and he was playing this game that I'd never heard of. It's called GeoGuessr, and it's basically
Sounds right up my alley.
yeah. So basically, I was watching this guy play this game where it pulls up a random. Let me get to the. It pulls up a random like Google Maps picture in the world, and you have to try and guess where it is in the world. So if you've ever been on a
Cool.
Delta flight, there's like they'll show you like a picture of the Parthenon, and you have to see if you can click your finger close to Greece, or they'll show you a picture of the Statue of Liberty. Well, this is like varying degrees of difficulty, could be like anywhere in the world. And I was watching this guy, and it was unbelievable the stuff he was picking up on. Obviously, it's just repetition and things, but he was like, oh, yeah, I think this is probably, I don't know, the sun is in the north. It's probably in Myanmar. And it's like, what? And maybe he had seen it before, but also he's like, you can sort of Google Maps Street View. It's Street View, basically. But you can look at like road signs, and you can't look at license plates. Those are all obscured from Street View stuff, but you can kind of see like what kind of cars are there, and you can look for clues and try and guess where you are. And so what you do is you look at it, and there's sort of a time limit involved, and you try and guess where it is. So I was just going to play a quick little free version here on stream. You guys can't see it, but the streamers can see
Cool. Oh, well, I
it. If you
can-
pull up the stream, you can see it. But so it just kind of like
Delayed, yeah.
it kind of drops me, and here's a picture, and I'm just like in this wasteland, but I see I'm at like the foothills of some mountains. I see a snowmobile. So it's probably, someplace north. It looks like these houses that don't have any basements. I've seen this type of thing, I don't know, in like northern Alaska type of thing.
I was getting like a Mongolia vibe.
Yeah, same.
Is it anywhere in the world?
It's anywhere in the world. You can set up different things like just North America or whatever, but this one I think the map is world. You can see map world round 1 of 5. So I was thinking this was kind of maybe some mountain ranges up in like northern Alaska. So I'm going to guess that. And I was way off. Obviously, this is in
Mongolia.
no.
That?
Just kidding. Where is that?
What is that? Is that Greenland?
It's like the
No, I don't even know.
it's like
It's
the
Svalbard? I don't even know where
North
that
Pole.
was.
Like the North Pole.
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, yeah. Maybe it is the North Pole. The layout of this map,
Santa's workshop.
But you just go through next round. I hope I'm streaming the right thing. Yeah. So here we go. We got these like 3-wheeled, what do they call those things?
Yurt?
Not like tuk-tuk, or what do they call those little three-wheeled cars? But I don't know where this would
That they
be.
have in like
a
Southeast
rickshaw?
Asia.
Rickshaw?
Yeah, sort of, but a motorized rickshaw, yeah. But anyway, this one will let me walk around a little bit, and you can kind of look, okay, there's a bus. I don't know what that means. But they have like tournaments of this stuff where there's a time limit involved.
Oh, cool.
But, you can kind of look for clues, and you got to figure it out. I have no idea where this thing would be. I would think somewhere in like Thailand.
Yeah, it's Southeast Asia.
It looks like maybe northern, based on complete nothing. Did I say Myanmar earlier?
Yeah.
Is that I'm going to
Do
try
it.
Myanmar. Oh, it was in Mexico.
Uh,
But look at that.
Okay.
Look at that latitude that I
you had the
picked.
right latitude. Sick latitude, man.
So I got 3 points for that. So anyway, this is GeoGuessr. It's GeoGuessr.com. And the
So
challenge
how are
is,
you going to structure it?
well, so you go through just one round of world, 5 maps, and you get a score. And I think that's just as basic as I'll make it. So here you can like zoom in. It takes all kinds to make a world as a sign.
How much can you move up and down? I'm on it right now, and I'm able to travel around on this road.
The English pub. Yeah, you can set different settings. Just do the default. So what I did, I went to GeoGuessr. This is kind of what you should do. Go to GeoGuessr and then scroll like halfway down the page, and there's try GeoGuessr free. This is a completely free game with maps from Mapillary, and hit play for free. And then there's a free version that's a limited 2D panorama view and one map, which is global. Play as much as you want. So play as much as you want, but you got to remember and post your top score for the 5 rounds that you play.
Cool.
Is that enough? Does that make sense?
So,
Those
sorry,
things?
Yeah.
top 5 rounds?
No,
By 5 rounds,
time
what's
you
your top score?
each time
Okay.
each time you run like the free game, you get 5 images. And so go through all 5
So
and
we can play it as many times as we want, and we
Yeah.
just have to post our top.
Yeah, see how
Do you have to post it immediately, or can you wait until 3 minutes
I
before
honestly
we
don't think
start?
there's anything that you can do to game the system here. You have to get quite lucky, or you have to find some good clues.
Sure.
I haven't seen if there's a time limit. So you could theoretically drive around until you hit like a street address, but you can't use any other tools. You can't go Google or anything, obviously. Like,
It's a hard thing to Google,
well, if there's a
right?
time
Like,
limit,
how would you even do that?
well, I mean, you could theoretically find some street signs and then
And then Google those names. Yeah,
yeah,
I
and then
suppose.
figure out and then back that up. But what this
But
guy
it's a
was
very hard
doing,
system to game.
yeah,
it's cool.
especially in the tournaments when there's a timer. You get a
Mhm.
minute for each picture. But the guy
I
was
mean-
complaining on stream. He thinks people watch his stream. You know, it's called like stream sniping, where they'll watch your stream and they'll know where you are in a video game. There's a little bit of delay, but sometimes you can get an advantage. But people would watch him, and then they'd take the same tournament that he was in, but they'd have already seen the pictures, and so they could kind of cheat. But we won't do that.
For our purposes, we can post our high score whenever we want to post it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Honestly, if you post a crazy high score, it's not like I'm going to be able to do anything to control beating that. I don't think.
Okay.
Except try lots of times. But
Yeah, exactly. Except, yeah.
all right. So we got the challenge. Let's
Let me.
raid.
End the podcast and then raid, or like do play the outro and then raid.
I know that was
Right?
one of my questions. Like, I love our
Ooh.
outro, but
Interesting.
I'm just gonna post the link in chat so people can go to that if they would like, bookmark it or whatever.
So let's do the outro, and then let's raid.
Will I automatically go?
Yeah. So if you're a viewer of our stream, a pop-up will come up and say, "Good Guys to Know is rating so and so. Stay here to go along,"
Got it.
or you can eject if you'd like to eject. But I would suggest hanging around, even just so you go to the next stream, they get a notification that we rated, and then everybody is supposed to like paste raid messages to just like overtake the chat. So like emotes and things like that. And
Do I have any emotes as a barely user?
yeah,
A
there
barely
are
user? I think
default
that's what they
emotes you
call
can do.
it.
That raid emote is a default emote. So you could just go to the new thing and just hit raid all in one chat message.
It's probably what I'm gonna do.
Hey, welcome back, Polar Knights. Good to see you.
So
we got
hey, if
two
we don't have any
half-beards for
ideas,
you.
I was just scrolling through talk shows and podcasts to see if we could find anybody.
Yeah.
And boy, I don't know how you ever pick, but I have a suggestion. So it's tiny. It's a podcast called Super Hopped Up.
Ooh.
I think they're talking about beer, which I think this is appropriate because Chad loves
I'm
hops.
in. Let's do it.
Let's get in there with our Coors Light,
So,
the hoppiest beer
Pod
in the
number
world.
252, titled Winter Damn Near Killed Her.
Yeah, and right now they only have 3 viewers, which I feel like if you're gonna rate somebody,
we're just gonna get
you
a
got to
bunch of
rate
games
someone
now
of like
that are just
equivalent
this is a good
viewership
concept.
to really make it.
And then I realized,
does that make
we
sense?
get-
Beer and
did
video
one
games.
Person, there was one
That's
other
what they're
game that
about.
did the exact same thing. It came out like 2 years ago, and
So
it
it's
was
like
bad.
the same as our podcast.
And that's like the thing. It's just like you see
Yeah,
like
okay.
concepts like the.
So we
I
can
don't
hear
know
it now, Peric.
Basically,
Oh,
was
you
it
can-
Assassin's Creed 2? Then
Yeah,
you have,
we
like
can
the
hear
map
that.
with the icon. Like,
Yeah.
All right, screw the outro. Let's just do it.
I say we
We
just
gotta
do
play
it.
the outro.
Oh, all right. We're gonna play the outro
fine.
while. All right, fine. Let's just see here. What do I do? Outro here.
Stay here if you wanna rate wins. Raid.
Good night, ladies. Good
Oh,
Don't
night,
forget this part.
ladies. Good night, ladies. We're going to leave you now. Good night, ladies. Good night, ladies. Good night, ladies. We're going to leave you now. Merrily we roll along, roll along, roll along. Merrily we roll along o'er the deep blue sea. Merrily we roll along o'er the deep blue sea.
Very nice. Okay, I'm gonna do this, and then there's a little timer, I think, and then everybody just spam that. Not crazy, but do the raid emote. There we
Hold
go.
on, let me find
Hey,
this raid
Brandon.
emote. Where is it?
Nice. Brandon found it. He
Okay.
knows.
Yeah.
Hey to Brandon, I like that.
All right, I'm doing it. So 9 viewers, ready to raid in 6 seconds. So I'm gonna end
I'm
our
not getting
stream
any
once we raid.
notifications.
Are you on the Good Guys to Know thing?
Here we go.
I am.
Oh, hit raid now. No, you need to just be watching us. I'm gonna hit raid
Yeah,
now.
I'm watching it on my phone. On my
All right,
phone,
here
I'm
we go.
watching it.
Thanks, everybody.